The Nepali Civil War claimed over 17,000 lives in just a decade, but numbers can't capture what it did to communities. Today, we're exploring a remarkable graphic novel that shows us the human cost of conflict through the eyes of one woman returning to face her village's haunted past.
You know what really struck me about Justice? The way it pulls you in from the very first page. The mist over the mountains, the heavy silence. It creates this atmosphere that's impossible to shake.
That's exactly what the artist Sandipan Santra does so brilliantly. Through these incredibly detailed landscapes and quiet moments, we see how trauma lives in the spaces between things, in empty doorways, in avoided glances, and the way people move through familiar streets like strangers.
The way memories appear throughout the story really got to me. How we see Tara's family members like echoes of the past. It's not supernatural, but it feels haunting.
Well, there's this one scene that perfectly captures that feeling. Tara's standing in her old courtyard, and suddenly we see these layers of time. Her little sister playing, her mother hanging laundry, her father sipping tea. These ordinary moments become extraordinary because we know they're gone. The art manages to capture both the memory and the emptiness simultaneously.
Hmm. Those domestic scenes really drive home how war destroys not just lives, but the simple, everyday moments that make up a life.
You know what's fascinating about this book? The way it handles the concept of justice itself. The title hangs over every page like a question mark. What does justice mean after such devastating losses? Can there ever be real reconciliation when neighbor has turned against neighbor?
That's what makes Tara's journey so powerful. She's not seeking violent revenge or even legal retribution. She's there to remember, to witness, to make sure these stories aren't forgotten.
And speaking of stories that shouldn't be forgotten, the historical context here is crucial. The Nepali Civil War, which lasted from 1996 to 2006, was this complex conflict between Maoist rebels and the government. But what makes this book so effective is how it shows the way this political struggle tore apart communities from the inside.
Well, that reminds me of something I read about post-conflict societies. How the hardest wounds to heal are often the ones between people who have to live side by side after the fighting stops.
That's exactly why this book feels so relevant today. We're seeing similar patterns of community trauma and betrayal playing out in conflicts around the world. The way Ram Khatri writes about these experiences, it's sparse, deliberate, letting the silences speak as loudly as the words.
You know what I keep coming back to? The way the book handles time. It's not linear at all. Past and present seem to exist simultaneously.
Right? And that's actually a really accurate way to portray how trauma works. There's this brilliant sequence where we see the same village square in different time periods, layered over each other like transparent sheets. It's showing us how these memories don't just live in the past, they're actively shaping the present.
So, what do you think about the ending? The way it refuses to offer any neat resolution?
Well, that's actually one of its greatest strengths. Instead of giving us some Hollywood ending where everything's resolved, it shows us something much more truthful. How communities learn to live with unresolved pain. How people carry on despite unanswered questions.
The technical skill involved in creating those transitions between past and present is remarkable. The way the colors shift, how the lines blur between memory and reality.
You know what makes this book so groundbreaking? It's using the graphic novel format to tell a story that might be too painful to tell any other way. The combination of art and text creates this safe distance that allows readers to engage with really difficult material.
That's such an interesting point about the medium itself. How do you think this story would be different if it were just text or just photographs?
I think it would lose something essential. The artwork creates this dreamlike quality that helps us understand how memory works, how trauma works. There's this one panel where Tara finds her father's old reading glasses still sitting on a dusty table. It's such a small detail, but the way it's drawn, with these long shadows falling across it, it becomes this powerful symbol of interrupted lives.
The way it handles violence is interesting too. It's never gratuitous, but you feel the weight of it in every scene.
Exactly. And that's another masterful choice by the creative team. Instead of showing us explicit violence,